bright and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in it, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Recently returned to New York City representing Skyridge High School with the Jenny's Advanced Competition. Again, Savannah Crosco. Come out to see musical theater's Footloose this fall.
I did not click. I can check in a second though. That looks like it's pretty normal. Grab that. Which one do you like? One of those. I'll probably stand here and ride over here. Right now, I will remember tomorrow. No, I didn't.
The party's here on the west side. The west is from our body and we're here. And they gotta put the keys to my truck. In the shop as I'm fading. Homies in the street, they know we're waiting. And we're so good. I live tonight. But someone's on stage saying I gotta get the vibe. I ain't mad. It's not about the drive-by. You gotta get your groove on before you go get paid. So just like the back and throw your hands up. And let me hear the party say, I'm kind of boss. That sex so fast, so I know what you does. To all my neighbors, they got much flavor. Let's get the happy old flavor. This is how we do that. All hands are in the prayer. Anyway, people are prison. We're coaching back, so I wanna be player. The whole thing gets to me. At first, I was on lowercase G, but now I'm a baby. Girls think I got the money, $100 bills already.
I tested with my voice. Let me get your voice. Just a second.
Testing, testing. Mic check, mic check. Testing, testing. Mic check, mic check. Testing 1 2 1 2 testing.
Test, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3, test 1 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. 1 2 3. I'm going to switch those to here. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3.
3 check is?
You can, yeah, I can.
Testing, testing.
Actually.
Welcome in to Skyridge High School for our matchup between the 2-0 Skyridge Falcons and the 0-2 Herriman Mustangs. Hello, everyone. My name is JC Wistersill. Excited to be with you on the call tonight for our matchup. Two teams in very different positions. Skyridge, arguably the best team in the state. The Mustangs trying to get on track, get that first win of the season, comes against a very potent Skyridge team if they were able to do it tonight. And this is it's been a tough start to the season for Herriman because of the competition they've played. I mean, when you look at it, you could argue they have played only top 5 teams in the state so far. They started out their season taking on started out their season taking on Corner Canyon. So that was 45-7. They lost that one. Then had to take on Timpview, who, of course, in the first week, Timpview got the upset over Lone Peak, knocking off the reigning 6A state champions. So 0-2 are Herriman, but a deceptive 0-2 once again because of the talent. They have their hands full once again tonight, but still a great opportunity for them to get a win. We have a fantastic view out here at Skyridge High School for you. Isaac Herfel set to kick off and get week 3 of high school football underway on this Friday night. Going back for the touchback. Making the catch is the explosive receiver, Michael Falatea. So the Mustangs will take over. This is a Skyridge defense that has been extremely potent to start the season. Last year they were the same. They didn't allow a touchdowns until week 6 of the season. Absolutely dominant on the defensive end. The only reason they've let up one so far this year is because one of the absolute best plays of the high school season, when David Calvert of Fremont High School, the tight end, had a one-handed catch and then ran down the sideline for 75 yards. That was one of those situations. Great players making plays. So nothing against the Skyridge defense, who, of course, then went on to get the 52-7 win versus them, and then a 42-0 win versus East. Mustangs wasting no time. But there is a flag. See what the call is in a moment. It was a delay of game. That was something we saw East struggle with a lot versus Skyridge last week. And once again, Skyridge's opponent this week being the Mustangs has the issue. So start off with a negative play. Never what you want to start against a potent team like the Falcons. See if they can do it. 1st and 15 from the 15. Try to go a quick pass to the outside. It's caught by Falatea. gets a few of the yards back before he is knocked out of bounds by Brady Beers. Or check that, actually, Caden Hansen, the one with the reception. Freddie Ta'ai gets the start tonight for the Mustangs, as he has all season. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 20 of 42 completions on the season. Also a guy who likes to run. Look to the outside, get it to Grundy on the edge, trying to get to the corner. Chased down from behind by Colin Sheffield. Or check that, actually, that was Elijah Terdapaia on the tackle. That's going to make it 3rd and 8 from the 22. Just over 30 seconds played now. See if the Mustangs can get a first down here. Once again, the Skyridge defense potent. Only 1 on the season. Outside throw, nearly dragged down. Then wrestled around for a second. It was Caden Hansen who made the catch, but then wrestled down to the outside. That swarming defense of the Falcons comes over in time to make a play. Is a flag, though. Wait and see what the call is. Looks like an illegal roughing the passer, excuse me. Looked like he had gotten it out and signed, but Falcons getting a little too aggressive. They have a negative play of their own. So first down for the Mustangs off the roughing the passer call. We'll keep this drive alive. Moves the ball to the 36, so 1st and 10 for Herriman. Coach Pierce's squad looking to get off to a strong start today. This is a Skyridge team that's done nothing but get off 2 strong starts. Scored 17 points in the first quarter versus Fremont, 7 versus East, that being the Falcons. Mustangs looking to take an early lead today. Over to the outside, nearly intercepted. Tried to fit in a tight needle. Tried to find Chachi Pan. Unable to squeeze it through. I thought he had something, but it closed just as quickly. From our vantage point, looked like it was a near interception. But able to hold on and save it. So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 36, 10-40. Ta'ai, the senior. Last year it was Jack White at the quarterback spot for the Mustangs. This year, Ta'ai. Fake it to Grundy. Look to the outside. High throw is hauled in. Caden Hansen with about a 7-yard reception. Bring him to about the 44. So it's going to be 3 yards till we get to a first down. Yeah, 3rd and 4, the official call. Ball on the 43 with 10:35 remaining. Ta'ai gets his team set. Falcons heavy on the right side with the pressure. Akana, top of your screen. Snap is fumbled, bobbled, and then buried in the backfield is Ta'a. Big time sack for Skyridge. Cecilia Akana on the sack. The explosive Akana was actually at the top of your screen and came around the edge to make the play. For week 1, Akana wore 15, so a little bit of a numbers change. This week has 45 on, and he comes around and buries Ta'ai for the sack. Falcons send 2 back. 4th and 11 from the 35 after the sack. There was a ton of Falcons in on it. Mustangs will have to improve their protection if they want to stay in this one. Punt is high and away. Going to be fielded. No fair catch was called for. And Mustangs able to converge on it. We'll get this drive started from about the 33. Tate Walker, starting running back for the Falcons. Excited to be joined by Brian Brown, for our call today as well. After the Falcons able to force the 3-and-out originally, but then the roughing a passer by Akana extends the drive. But after that, then Akana gets it back with the sack. Now McKay Hillstead and this explosive offense take over. We'll see what Hillstead can do. On 1st and 10 from the 33, Hillstead will drop back. He's got a clean pocket all day to throw. Thinks about running it. We'll get makes a few defenders miss. About as impressive as a 2-yard gain, as you'll see, Brian.
Yeah, Hillstead showcasing that sneaky athleticism that we talked about in week 1. You know, he is fun to watch, but always a surprise. He's like a jack-in-a-box. You know, you never know when he's going to pop off for a big game or an explosive play. And right there just showcases how good his decision-making is as well.
He is phenomenal. And one thing that's also noticeable there is how good a job the protection was by the offensive line. This time, they'll give it to Walker. And a nice tackle is made by Heston. Eagland. Walker gets the start, but you're going to see a ton of guys come into the backfield for the Falcons, and we know what a threat Hillstead is with his legs as well. This is a Skyridge team that has been unstoppable on offense. Mentioned it, 52 points in the first game, 42 last week, had the shutout versus East. They have been tough to stop this season. This one's going to be 3rd and 5 from the 39 with 8:30 remaining in our first quarter. What are you thinking here, Brian?
You know, it's 3rd and long, situational stuff. You're probably looking for the pass here, but this is where you trust McKay to get you in a good situation, keep those chains moving.
And McKay looking, sees green grass in front of him, easily shakes the defender, and waltzes to the first down. McKay Hillstead, how do you do?
This is why I love calling Skyridge games, because all you have to do is mention McKay, and he makes you look smart. You know, sees the coverage is dropped back, has good protection, there's open grass, knows how far he needs to go, gets to the first down, keeps the drive going.
I believe that was Samisi Faifita who tried to come over and make the tackle, but there are very few things as difficult as trying to tackle McKay Hillstead in open field, and we saw that right there.
Neither you or I want to get out there and tackle.
No, no, sir. Hillstead will roll to the right, has time once again, sees green grass, he'll take off, heading towards the sideline, across the 50, across the 40, stepping out of bounds again.
And you can see what the philosophy is for Herriman here. They want to drop guys into coverage. They want to try and force McKay to make a decision downfield. The problem is that he's too athletic for that. You have to have a spy, and you've got to have someone who can match his athleticism. And I don't know that Herriman has someone like that right now.
That's the hard part you mentioned. It's not just, you can't just assign anyone to spy him. They have to be an extremely good athlete as you're trying to tackle not just one of the best quarterbacks, but one of the best athletes in the state as well, who just happens to be a phenomenal quarterback as well.
Yeah, not even Dusty or Dane could get out there and
no.
Not Jeff Hansen, not anyone.
Hillstead to the outside, get it to Kalama. Tries to get to the edge, so across the 30. Mustangs converge on him, but another first down run by the leading receiver for the Falcons, Laha Kamala.
And that's what you want to do, is you want to get this Herriman defense going sideline to sideline, get them worn down a little bit. Their numbers are down. They've got a few injuries this week, and so you want to get them working. Throw those little sideline routes, let your guys get into space, and see if they can make some magic happen.
You mentioned the injuries. We see the tempo. They're wasting no time. 7:43 left. Hillstead all day to throw over the middle. Finds his man. Another first down for the Falcons. That time it's the tight end, Josh Davis, with the reception.
Great protection by the offensive line there. McKay's able to just stand tall in the pocket, delivers a nice ball, and they're up and ready to go, trying to get a touchdown on the board early.
You see the Mustangs trying to run guys on and off, get some fresh bodies in there. See if they try to run it here to capitalize on that. They'll look to the outside, get it to Fenton, who is Cannon Jensen, the reception, but a nice play made on the outside by Chachi Pan.
Yeah, one of the rare, I don't even want to call it a miscue, but just a missed throw by McKay Hillstead. You know, not able to deliver right on the spot. Wide receiver comes back for a little bit. Defender does a good job of closing that space, staying level, staying within position, and they're able to get a 2-yard loss.
You mentioned the injuries. That means a lot of guys are going to have to go both ways.
Yeah, and this is not a very deep Herriman team either. It's a younger team. You know,
touchdown, Hillstead.
And that's the problem, right?
Yeah, Kalama catches the touchdown, but we do see the flag.
You see that Skyridge has an advantage here. They have the depth. They've got guys that are going, they're two platooning, right? And that's becoming more of a trend here in high school where you have guys that just play one way. And this Herriman team, in order to compete, they've got to find a way to disrupt this offense.
Offensive line has been outstanding to start the game for Skyridge. That time, they get a little grabby. Going to be a holding penalty. We'll back them up 10 and do it again. It'll be 2nd
And for
And
anybody
20.
who tuned into last week, I think I might have brought the Weber American Fork flag curse with me. We got another early hanky.
Had 2 so far early, if you include that one. Had the one on Akana as well for the roughing the passer. So 2nd and 20 for Hillstead from the 20. Once again, all day to throw. Gets it to the sideline. Beautiful route and catch.
It gets him back up to the 10-yard line, like you said. Just a toe tapper right there. It's a safe throw. Delivers. Good way to get back into rhythm and kind of get back to where you're threatening to score now with a touchdown. You can't really come out of this with a field goal. That's a big win for Herriman if they get that.
100%. Valdez, the recipient of that pass. And right there, go on the hard count, get the big boys to jump up front. Mustangs have pretty much given the yardage back that they surrendered.
Yeah, and that's a really tough one right there. Again, like we talked about the fatigue. You know, these kids, when you get on the field for a long time, you've been pushing around a little bit, your mental awareness starts to drop, and you see it right there. That's a 5-yard penalty. That's an easy, untimed move for Skyridge, and now they're like 5 yards to going in the end zone. That's a big, big step for them.
Yeah, it was 2nd and 5. Basically now at 3rd and 5 if it would have just been an incomplete pass originally. See if Hillstead will drop back again. He will. Feels the pressure. He's going to escape. Jukes defenders out. Another touchdown for McKay Hillstead on the season. His 4th rushing of the year.
What else can you say about McKay on that one? He's just so fantastic with his decision making. Stays in the pocket as long as he can, knows he has open field. Once he decides, he's an elusive runner. And it's just, I don't know what you do if you're Herriman at that point. He's just a very, very special player.
Skyridge is absolutely McKay Hillstead's house. He shows why there with incredible athleticism getting in for the touchdown. PAT is good. Skyridge with the early 7-0 lead over the Herriman Mustangs with 6:16 to go in our first quarter. You're watching KSL Game Night Live, everyone.
Herriman 0, Skyridge 7.
At UCCU,
Back here at Skyridge High, where the Falcons have the lead after McKay Hillstead marched them down the field. That was something we saw week 1. We called Skyridge's game versus Fremont. Marched all the way down the field, but couldn't convert. 4 and out. That time they got stuck with a 2nd and 20 after the holding play. Still able to convert. Shows you the impressiveness of this offense. This one will be returnable. Chachi Pan trying to get out, but couldn't quite escape. It's actually Michael Falatea.
Yeah, great coverage there by the Skyridge coverage team.
Yeah.
And you see everybody staying in their lanes, maintaining good balance, coming in good position. This is an extremely well-coached football team, and you can see that in the way that they're playing. You know, you mentioned Fremont. That was a very undisciplined game for them. First game of the year, some things that need to work out. This is more of what we expect from Skyridge.
Freddie Ta'a trots back out with his offense. Drive will start on the 20. Check the wristbands momentarily. It's tough trying to move the ball on this Skyridge defense. We'll see how the Mustangs try to go about it. Slow snap. Has to just air it to the outside. Nearly making an incredible catch was Max Robinson.
Yeah, and you see Herriman kind of getting out of what their offense normally is. You know, they like to try and establish the run game, but they know that this is a Skyridge defense that is extremely stout against that, you know, style of play. And so trying to generate a little early offense, a little early momentum, trying to take a shot downfield. And, you know, even if it's not Smith Snowden on one side, you've got some talented defenders on the other. And you see it right there, just really hard to complete that pass.
Mentioned Smith Snowden, arguably the top corner in the state. I think he'd be most people's pick personally. We saw week 1, he was matched up against a guy in David Calvert who had one of the catches of the season. No problem for Snowden, still got the interception. Drop back again, going to the outside to Robinson and met instantly.
Again, you can see this Skyridge defense just matches up so well in man situations. Trying to hit the crossing route. They do get a little bit of yardage there, but not enough to really generate anything at this. Well, actually a loss of a yard. And you can see that athleticism allows Skyridge to do a lot of things.
Colin Sheffield was the tackler. So 3rd and 11 from the 19, 5:30 to go. It's a tough thing when one thing is interesting, we're not even seeing the Mustangs try to run the ball yet. You're not going to see them do it on 3rd and 11 here. They'll drop back. Pressure breaks through once again. A near interception as near a completion, as he almost had Robinson, but just to the outside of his hands.
Yeah, it's a great job of him to stand in the pocket. You can see Skyridge brings the pressure, especially from the outside, trying to collapse and get to the quarterback quickly. Stands in there, ball's a little high, receiver's able to get a hand up. Probably could have gotten both hands up there to try and make the catch. Ends up being an incompletion, and that's a really rough series there for Herriman.
Yeah, tough to move the ball. It'll be interesting to see if they try to go back to the run a little bit. We just haven't even seen them really try to get it going, but it's hard to test this team on the outside. And one thing that's also tough is we talked about Smith Snowden, this team's leading receiver, Michael Falatea, going to be shadowed by the best corner in the state. It's a tough thing when your best offensive weapon is going to be shadowed. And kick sails out of bounds, so we'll see the Falcons take back over. If you are the Mustangs defensive coordinator, or just any defensive coordinator, it's an extremely tall task. How would you go about trying to slow down the Falcons?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that normally you would try and get McKay Hillstead, out of his rhythm, try and disrupt him somehow. But he is such a cool, calm customer that I think really what you have to do is you have to attack the offensive line, right, and try and get into their head somehow. So maybe disguise some blitzes, get some disruptive alignments, maybe shoot some gaps here and get them thinking so that they start making the mistakes that affect McKay.
Hillstead, drop it back again, try to go over to the middle, and it's caught! Nice catch made by Cannon Jensen, extending.
Well, just a great catch there by Jensen, and you look at the contrast between him making the catch and on the previous series, Herriman not being able to complete it. That's really what we're seeing tonight in terms of the separation of these two teams. You mentioned making plays.
Yeah, and you mentioned trying to bring pressure and blitzes as well. I think one of the important things in that, you're going to have to do it with linebackers or even safeties, because defensive linemen are going to have a hard time catching Hillstead. He shakes off a defender with a spin move, makes another miss. McKay Hillstead turning on the wheels.
I don't know if that's quite a hey McKay highlight yet, but you can see the diverse ways that he can get it. Line of scrimmage, Herriman does a good job of holding it up. Backer comes up, tries to make the tackle. He's so strong and has such strong momentum, runs him over, is able to make a move, and gets those chains moving for a first down.
See the spin, you see the jump cut in space as well. Hillstead will give it to Walker on this one. Beautiful hole. He'll take it to the outside. Nice 15-yard run for Walker.
You look at the change of pace there. You've got McKay Hillstead, who is a strong runner, but very elusive, and you hand the ball off to Walker, who can hit the hole and get downhill fast. And it's just a really tough task right now for Herriman to try and bottle all that up.
We talked about the lack of bodies because of some of those injuries, which then leads to a lot of your best players who maybe on one side they're the best, and on the other side they might be as well, but we'll give them a break. Then they have to play both ways, a challenging task. Skyridge wasting no time. Hillstead going up top. Unable to make the grab on that one was Kalama, but there was a lot of contact, Brian.
There was, and Kalama's trying to get to the ball, and I think maybe the defender had lost the ball a little bit in the sun as it's still kind of starting to set over behind the stadium here. It took a bad angle. Should have taken a little bit more depth, could have gotten in front of it a little bit more rather than just having that kind of jump ball, questionable call situation.
2nd and 10 from the 21, 4:08 to go in our first half. Skyridge has had no problems on the ground or through the air early. See if the Mustangs can finally get a stop here. Hillstead trying to set up the screen. He's going to take off. Green grass in front of him. He'll cross the 10, cut it back, makes another one. McKay Hillstead, what a run for a touchdown.
I just you sit here and you watch it, and you just want to go give all those Herriman defenders a hug, because I understand how hard it is to have to try and tackle this guy. I say it all the time. Hey, McKay, what a highlight! Great run there as you see him showcasing both the speed and the elusiveness. Just what else can you say, man?
Just incredible. Kick is good. Skyridge leads 14-0. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind. Falcons with a 14-0 lead over the Mustangs. JT Wistersill and Brian Brown with you on the call. And also, Brian, one thing I want to mention, just tell me if you've heard this again. Another beautiful view at a high school football stadium in Utah. If you have not been out to watch a game at Skyridge yet, we would highly recommend it. It's fantastic.
One of the rare benefits of coming south to Utah County.
Falatea tried to field it, but unable to as it goes out. So if you are the Mustangs, you got your guy in Michael Falatea, 175 yards through the first 2 games, a touchdown as well. Your best offensive weapon through the early portion of the season, and he gets stuck against the best corner at Smith Snowden. How do you go about attacking Snowden or getting him the ball?
Well, we see Falatea walk off a little bit slowly there. I don't know if it's sun in his eyes, but mishandles the kick there. So what you want to do is trying to get his mind right. And so that means bring him over to the sideline, bring him down a little bit. Like you said, he's had a lot of success. Now he's starting to struggle. And so calm him down, get him back in there, and find some ways to get him involved in some short yardage plays, either fly sweep handoffs, maybe get him in the backfield a little bit, or some screen passes.
2 of them matched up at the top of your screen. 3:57 to go. Ball on the 5. And false start. Negative plays. Once it's the second drive of 3 so far we've seen for the Mustangs start off with a negative play. And when you're already trying to get an upset that is highly improbable, you can't beat yourself.
You really can't, and it's a disappointing thing for Herriman. They came out. I think they understood what the task was in front of them, but you just want to see them compete and engage. And the one thing you can't control is mental focus. And right now they look a little unfocused.
So 1st and 12 from the 3. Look to the outside. They'll air it out. Looking to Robinson again, and just nothing there.
Yeah, a little bit of early contact there by the DB, but that ball substantially out of bounds, not catchable, so kind of let that one go. Again, Herriman looking for some way to try and get some momentum going, especially as they're backed up against their end zone here. It's a safe throw, not a bad call. Now you've got to look back and try and get something to where you can get some yardage against this Skyridge defense.
You can clearly see this Herriman staff has a lot of respect for the defensive end of the Falcons. They have yet to try to run it a lot today. We'll see if they opt to do so here. It looks like it's going to be another false start, Brian, so we'll back it up to the 1.
Again, we talk about mental focus and composure, and this is one of those situations where you see how young these guys really are playing high school football, where they're feeling rattled, feeling the pressure right now. Guys are starting to make mistakes. Take a deep breath, calm down, get back to your mental state, and try and get some execution going forward, not backwards.
Yes. So Freddie Ta'a and the Mustangs offense from the 1. Try to get a quick pass to the outside. It's lofted and incomplete.
Yeah, great play call there by Herriman, trying to get the action on the slant so the defenders all draw in and then run the running back around on the outside in a little loop there. Not able to get the completion there. Again, it seems, I don't know if it's the sun down there still or what's going on, but it seems like the wide receivers are having a hard time judging that ball.
Well, I'll say there, I think he heard footsteps. Looked like he had looked and saw the DB coming flying down to make a play, and that time was Chachi Pan unable to haul it in. So once again, 3rd and 14 from the 1. Can't take a sack here. Ta'ai. He is going to get sacked. Akana with the safety. He was back there in an instant, Brian. The best pass rusher in the state, making plays.
Well, you see the talent of the Skyridge defense, and Akana is just an absolute demon off that edge. The quick speed rush, you know it's coming. They can play aggressively. They've got the entire line of scrimmage pressed. Herriman's got to recognize that, understand that play action is just not going to go here. It's too much time. You've got to throw something quick. Skyridge gets the safety, and that is a big feather in the cap for this defense.
Akana in a moment, just in the backfield. Now, something started the game with the roughing the passer, right? How's it going to go from there? Gets a sack to end the first drive, and then on the 4th drive of the game, or excuse me, the 3rd drive so far, gets a huge safety, and that was deep in the end zone. He basically knocked him out of play, Brian.
What? I mean, that's the difference in the mindsets right now in these two teams. This is a Skyridge unit that's playing with a lot of confidence. Obviously, Akana knows that he's one of the best, if not the best, defensive ends in the state, maybe even in the western half of the country here. And that's why he has the offers that he has. Obviously, Utah, BYU, Texas, just all over the country, and that's why he is such a coveted player.
Freddie Ta'a was faced with a choice there, basically. Get engulfed by Akana or pull a Dan Orlowski and just basically run out the back of the end zone.
Listen, there's no shame in just putting the knee down at that point.
So we'll punt it away.
Great kick.
Yeah, it takes a bounce. Trouble fielding it for a moment until Snowden gets on it and is buried.
And Snowden tackled by the turf monster a little bit, not able to advance it very much. And Herriman comes into this now looking a lot better as they have some field to allow them to get some pressure on Skyridge. We talked about it last time. McKay Hillstead, you're just not going to knock him off of his game. He's been doing this for too long. I believe this is his 3rd year as a starter at quarterback.
It is.
So you need to get after that front 5 here for Skyridge. Be aggressive. Be pressuring them, not necessarily in terms of force, but in where you're bringing your pressure from and where your direction is coming from. One
of the state's best quarterbacks, already with 2 rushing touchdowns, and they're not even going to try to run the ball again. You see 5 out wide, 3 at the bottom, 2 at the top, empty backfield for Hillstead. 3:36 to go in our first quarter. Quick throw to the outside, and Davis drops it.
There is a lot of talent here at the wideout position as well here at Skyridge, and Davis just not able to reel that one in. Looks like it might have bounced off his hands into the chest and then onto the turf, but there's no reason right now if you're Skyridge to play around. McKay has been rolling. He's in a rhythm. Try and get those points up early. Try and extend this lead. Try and really put that Herriman team down. You do not want to allow them to try and get back into this. It's only 16-0.
We're going to see the exact same look. Only 3 linemen, or another one creeps up off the edge for the blitz. It's picked up. They'll get to the outside to Kalama, who's able to fight and get a couple extra yards out of it for about a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, good protection by the offensive line there. You see Herriman trying to bring some pressure from the outside, able to pick it up, able to allow McKay a little bit of time. Short routes. These are easy throws. You just want to keep the ball moving.
3rd and 6 from the 32. 3:10 remaining. Skyridge continuing to use the tempo, trying to get the Mustangs to jump off sides. We saw them get them on their previous drive. See if they can get the yardage. See the same look for the 3rd play in a row. No motion, Kalama across. He'll look to him. It's going to be a run for Hillstead. Green grass in front of him. He lunges forward, and he's got the first down.
Yeah, it's a nice play call there by Coach Hem, the offensive coordinator, as he brings the motion across, trying to distract the defense, and then has the quarterback draw and play. Hillstead, I think, is one of the best, if not the best runners on this team, and so you have to feel comfortable putting the ball in his hand to do that.
Already 2 rushing touchdowns today. The previous one, he made about 5 guys miss on his way to the end zone. Just a phenomenal talent at the quarterback position. You mentioned Coach Hem, the offensive coordinator, coming over as head coach from Brighton. He's the head coach in waiting. Coach Lehman's final year on the sideline. As we'll see a give. Taken to the outside is Sheffield, who tiptoes down the sideline for nearly a first down.
Yeah, great job by the offensive line to get some good push. Sheffield doesn't even counter a defender until he's almost 5 yards down the field. Able to make that first defender miss. Gets to the outside, picks up a little bit more. Just short of the first down. It looks like they'll be here at the 46-yard line.
2:13 remaining. They'll give it to Sheffield once again. Look at that line of scrimmage just get pushed back, Brian. Easy first down for the Falcons.
Boy, and it's unfortunate. Sheffield had such a head of steam going downfield. They kind of missed that the offensive line had collapsed the entire right side, could have cut that back. he would have had nothing but green grass. Nevertheless, it's still a first down.
One thing you don't say a lot is East High School getting bullied. And that's what they did in the line of scrimmage they got versus the Falcons last week. Skyridge's offensive and defensive lines manhandled them up front. It didn't allow them to get a drive going. And the one time they actually got in field goal range, it was blocked and then returned for a touchdown. So this is just a phenomenal offensive line for the Falcons. And when you pair that with their skill position players, just a tough combination. They'll give it to Sheffield once again. This time only a 3-yard gain.
You're across the 50-yard line now, so you can slow it down a little bit and try and work, that front four from Herriman. And like you said, you've got a big physical offensive line here if you're Skyridge. Run the ball a little bit, wear them down. You're in good field position, and you know that when it comes to 3rd and long, there are a few better in this state than McKay-Hillstead.
2nd and 7 with just over a minute remaining in our first quarter. Hillstead keeps it, shooks the defender out of his shorts, but then brought down. Nice tackle made by Holden McKell.
Yeah, that's a great tackle there by Holden McKell. Comes up, able to make the shoestring grab, goes low, goes for the legs rather than try and test McKay, who is sizably stocky, even though he's not super tall.
100%. 3rd and 8 now, about 45 seconds remaining. So Skyridge, once again, they like to get on the line, fake the hard count, then check it, get the play in. See Tate Walker back in the backfield. High snap. Hillstead gets a lucky bounce, able to play it. Guns it to the sideline. They got it. That's a first down for the Falcons.
That's when you know things are really going your way, when you have a miscue like that. Hillstead has plenty of time to go pick the ball up. Cool under pressure. Knows what to do. Rolls out to the sideline. Sees his wide receiver. Fires it in there to where only his guy can make the catch. Turns what could have been a huge negative into a first down, and now they're rolling here at the 38-yard line.
Jack Berth with the reception. Could see one more play ran in this first quarter. They'll look to the outside. Receiver blocking is phenomenal. That's another first down for the Falcons. A couple tough extra yardage as well, but Skyridge just working it. And it's one thing when your guys are doing work, but it's another thing when the ball literally bounces your way, as it did for McKay-Hillstead on that previous play.
Well, it's like we talked about. It's the mental focus, right? Skyridge gets a big play there for the first down. They come right back, and they're testing this Herriman defense, trying to see how they respond. It's just a basic wide receiver laser screen out to the sideline, but this Skyridge team executes at such a high level, they're able to turn it into a first down as the quarter ends.
The Stars are out in Skyridge tonight as we conclude the first quarter. McKay-Hillstead with not one but 2 rushing touchdowns, and Tassilia Kana with a safety. 16-0. Skyridge leads Herriman. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
For over 25 years, Salt Lake Running Company has helped people of all ages and levels find the gear they need to start their fitness journey. From a free custom shoe fit analysis to a premium assortment of footwear and workout essentials, SLRC is a top 10 run shop in America. Locally owned, locally operated at 5 locations along the Wasatch Front, SLRC is there to help you gear up and get out. Visit a store near you or shop online at slrc.com.
$16 to 0. The Falcons lead the Mustangs. McKay-Hillstead picking it up on 1st and 10 from the 26. He'll drop back. Gets it to the check down. Nice cut made. Back to the inside. Some strong running by the Falcons, and that's another first down.
Yeah, great cut back there by Kalama as he's able to go against the grain. Gets the defender to slip and fall, picks up another extra 5-6 yards there, able to move the chains. And that's, that yak is so critical when you're Herriman, right? Limiting that yak because you're trying to get off the field and you're trying to limit the number of plays. And when Skyridge is able to move the ball like that, it's death by pinpricks.
Kalama coming over from Wasatch. Him and Hillstead wasted no time making their connection. Tate Walker with another strong run. Just the offensive line is just been lights out to start the game. You could not tell where the play begins and where it ends. If you just looked at screenshots, you couldn't tell where the line of scrimmage is because it keeps getting reestablished 5 yards down the field.
Yeah, these guys get moving.
Hillstead. They'll feed Walker once again. Look at the push. Walker, tough running. That's a touchdown, courtesy of the Pancake Platoon, Brian.
Well, you're prophetic right there, JT, as you're talking about the offensive line, and they're literally pushing that Herriman front into the end zone. Walker able to just scoot right past him and dive in for 6.
The third rushing touchdown of the day. The previous 2, courtesy of McKay Hillstead. That one comes via Tate Walker. Skyridge is rolling, and a huge reason for that is the big boys up front just doing work. Kick is good. 23-0. Falcons have a lead at home.
For over 25 years, Salt Lake Running Company has helped people of all ages and levels find the gear they need to start their fitness journey. From a free custom shoe fit analysis to a premium assortment of footwear and workout essentials, SLRC is a top 10 run shop in America. Locally owned, locally operated at 5 locations along the Wasatch Front, SLRC is there to help you gear up and get out. Visit a store near you or shop online at slrc.com.
Falcons 23-0 over Herriman early, and something we talked about, the injuries, just you got guys going both ways, and it's only the start of the second quarter, but we might have even seen a little bit of fatigue there from the Herriman defensive line as Skyridge just over and over getting a 5-yard push off the ball.
But this Skyridge team knows who they are, knows what they need to do, and this, it's a plucky effort from Herriman right now, but they just don't have the manpower to stand up toe-to-toe every single play against Skyridge.
Balatea lets it take a bounce wisely as it does go out of bounds. So a nice gain. I want to ask you a question, Brian. So if you are Coach Pierce and this Herriman squad, you start your season with Corner Canyon, then you go and play Timpview, now you play Skyridge. How do you keep your guys locked in and upbeat knowing they're going into 3 games where they are not favored at all?
Well, you have to acknowledge that throughout the start of the season, and this is a younger group, right? And you've seen some turnover on the coaching staff with Herriman. They're kind of getting back to basics in a lot of ways. And so you have to keep pounding that into these guys' heads that, listen, we're here to grow, we're here to develop. Every drive, every series is an opportunity to improve. Yeah, you're down on the scoreboard, but all that matters is that next play in front of you if you're Herriman.
100%. I think it's so important you didn't just preach like over and over again, like, guys, we can do this, underdog mentality. Like, it gets old after 3 weeks. So it's something you have to stay locked in, and it's an opportunity for them here just to continue to work. And if they can look back on the season, too, if they're able to get stops against Skyridge or score against Skyridge, that's something to be encouraged about.
Yeah, absolutely. And the bottom line is that these kids are out there fighting against Skyridge. They know what they're facing.
Ta'ai. Look to the outside. Robinson makes the reception. Falcons all over him. Able to pick up an impressive yard. He had to juke 2 tacklers in order to do it.
Yeah, great job making 2 defenders miss. If he can just drop his pad level a little bit lower, he might be able to slip through the final 2 Skyridge defenders. Nevertheless, it's a 3-yard gain, keeping the offense on schedule. You've got some momentum now as you're here on the 37-yard line, and that's a little bit of positivity now here for Herriman on offense.
Goes from what looked to be it was going to be a 3-yard loss to a 3-yard gain, as you mentioned, Brian. Ta'ai in the gun. Drop back, pressure in his face instantly. Screen pass was set up so well, but all it takes is one defensive lineman to hang behind, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, and you see that the screenplays are designed where the tackles want to allow the edges to come up field, but you've got to force them to the outside. Akana being so explosive, so quick, he's able to get around the tackle before the tackle can even try and push him up the field and disrupt the play. Bad throw, pressured throw at the feet of the receiver, unable to complete the screen.
That was Elijah Terdetipadi, as I completely butchered that last name. Sorry, Elijah. But phenomenal play made by him nonetheless. Try to get it to the outside, pressure in his face. High throw, just bounces off the hands of Robinson. That's going to be another 3 and out for the Mustangs.
Had a little bit of momentum there early. Tried to get some more going with the screenplay. We haven't seen Herriman do a lot in the run game early.
We really haven't.
You can see that they just I think a lot of that is just respect for that front
Yes.
from Skyridge. But you got to kind of sit down and figure out now, like, do we want to try and keep trying to throw the sideline, or do we want to try and get some misdirection going in the backfield?
Yeah, when you're talking about Kopo Malafula, Deshaun Toilolo, Ian Mariner, Cecilia Kana, those are just dudes all across the board up front, and you can see why you don't want to test them. That catch, that one hauled in by Kamala along the sideline, but just going to be out of bounds in an instant, so Falcons will take over once again. Do you think we're going to see the Falcons continue to come out in the spread, in the gun, or do you think we're going to start to see them try to run the ball a little bit more as this game wears on? Because it's been pass heavy and Hillstead run heavy early.
Well, you want to stick to what you're best at if you're Skyridge, and the reality is that a lot of what makes this offense go is that passing attack. And you can do a lot of things as long as it's McKay Hillstead that's behind that big offensive line. They don't have to use tight ends as much because they have so much size in that front five.
From the 27, 10:06 remaining in our first half. They'll give it to Walker. Like a counter play to the right. Goes for about 3 yards, couple tough yards.
And you see that interior of the Skyridge offensive line just getting big pushback. Almost 4 or 5 yards there. Walker just able to huddle. Good job by the Herriman defense to close in around him as he's trying to hide behind that offensive line, but it's still a 4-yard gain.
Yeah, strong stand there by the Mustangs, and see if they can get it here. And Hillstead's going to hold on to this one, wait for a moment. Inaccurate throw, one of the rare incompletions we've seen on the day, as we see a little bit of extracurricular downfield as well.
Yeah, a little RPO action there. You see Hillstead waiting for the receiver to try and get open, stringing the play out as he goes to the sideline. Feels a little antsy there. Kind of a rare situation for McKay. Tried to force the ball a little bit. Unsure. Looked like the Herriman defense had done a good job of taking away the underneath shovel pass option.
Trying to go to Davis. It was just off his hands. It's going to set up 3rd and 6. Hillstead, he'll drop back to the outside. Kalama is open. He's going to fight for it and get the first down.
And you can see what an impressive receiver Kalama is. Kind of has to break his route off a little bit. Hillstead throws a little high there. He's able to plant, go up for it, turn it into positive yards, and moving the chains as Skyridge is now at their own 40-yard line. 2 first downs. This drive is starting to cook.
Kalama and Hillstead only playing in their 3rd game together, but they look like they've been playing together 4 years. Give it up the gut to Sheffield, who's chugging along, using those legs, as well as the big boys getting in for a little extra push. Nice first down run.
Yeah, great job by Sheffield to keep those legs churning. And again, the Skyridge offensive line is able to get a lot of knockback off the ball. That's not normal, right? Like if you played offensive line, I played offensive line. It's not usual to get 5 yards of push off of just a simple zone play.
It's impressive. It's a credit to their work. It's just like there's just a size difference when you look up front as well, which speaks to their commitment to the weight room and the effort they have put in, as well as just what naturally gifted athletes they are. Hillstead going up top. Beautifully thrown ball, making the reception down the sideline is Kyle Valdez. Explosive play for the Falcons through the air.
Yeah, just a simple drop back, and Valdez there on the streak. McKay sits back, hits him in stride, able to pick up a good gain here. Like you said, the explosive plays are what really turn drives into efficient drives, and we're seeing Skyridge doing just that now as they're at the 12-yard line. This is beautiful offense right now from Skyridge.
Looks so good. Could make a grown man cry. McKay Hillstead all day. Green grass in front of him. Throws it across his body. Nice throw to Kalama over the middle.
Yeah, you see him kind of think a little bit as he had plenty of grass out there, but a Herriman defender closing really quickly down on him, like number 14 there. Able to find, I think that was Kalama. Was it Kalama or Davis that was coming across the middle?
Looked like it was. I thought it was Kalama, personally. Either way, it's another reception
I'm always
for the Falcons.
For those orange shoes. That's
yeah. Good point. See him in the slot. See if they turn to him here. Instead, it'll be a quick throw to the outside. There was pressure off the edge there by Carson Grundy, starting running back for the Mustangs, and that one had to be rushed by Hillstead. It's going to be 3rd and 2, but, I mean, Brian, you got 2 downs to get this.
Yeah, and Grundy's one of those athletes for Herriman that you absolutely love. Typical high school kid where maybe he's not the elite size or measurables that you see for some teams, but he's tough, competitive, plays multiple sports, and does a great job there of putting some pressure on Hillstead.
Carson Grundy as well, like top-tier football name, I'll say. We're going names as well. Like, that is just one. You hear that, you go, that's a football guy. Hillstead kept it, spins out, somehow got out of it. What a move by Hillstead. Spins out of the tackle and gets into the end zone. His third rushing touchdown of the night, Brian.
Yeah, we talk about his strength, man, and it's just so impressive there as he goes up head-to-head against Gundy. Grundy makes a great job to get to the quarterback, try to meet him on the spot. McKay able to break the tackle, and then once he gets past that first defender, it's almost like he's just insatiably hungry to get 6.
I thought Kalama had the ball. I was faked for a second. Grundy was not fooled, but just so hard to tackle the ever-elusive McKay Hillstead. The spin move, the outside run, the score. His third rushing touchdown gives Skyridge a 30-0 lead over the Mustangs on KSL Sports Rewind. Back here in Lehigh at Skyridge High School, where the Falcons hold the 30-0 lead over the Herriman Mustangs. See if Michael Falatia and the rest of the Herriman return game can get some explosive play going here. Falatia bobbles it for a moment. He'll take it, trying to get to that opposite sideline. He's got the speed to do it. He'll get across the 20 until he is eventually met, but trucks a defender. Gets a couple extra yards out to the 25. The best play of the day for the Mustangs.
Yeah, Herriman has the return set up to the far side of the field. And so Falatea really has to hoof it to get over there. But once he gets going, got that momentum, turns the quarter, able to stick his shoulder into the defender and get some good field position for Herriman. Now we saw last series they came out, established the drive early, getting some yardage. What did they do here, JT? I think that's a big question mark because we've seen all along that they try to complete passes and get something going either with a deep play, try and catch in a defender snoozing. So I'll be curious to see what Herriman does here as they come out trying to get something going.
Freddie Ta'ai and the rest of the offense charge out. He'll take a deep drop. You can tell he's anticipating that pass rush. He's over 5 yards back. Try to get the wide receiver screen to the outside. Caught by Robinson. And Tassiliakana, what a play, was rushing upfield that came all the way back, Brian.
It's like a LeBron chase down block on a fast break, only he's coming up over the top trying to do the Tyler Algier punch the ball out. Unfortunately, not able to cause the fumble, but it doesn't matter because that's a highlight-worthy tackle right there from Akana.
I know they played the Leopards last week, but he looked like a leopard hunting its prey there as he just skied up out of nowhere to grab Robinson. You want to show people why Tassiliakana is one of the best players, not just in the state of Utah, but the country. Show them that play right there. 6:39, ball on the 25 for 2nd and 12. Going to give it to Grundy. That ball nearly fumbled away. Issues on the handoff. And then Sione Westover with the tackle.
Again, you're seeing this Skyridge front just really attacking Herriman from all angles. Pressure up the middle, pressure on the outside. The staff here from Skyridge does a lot of what I like to call exotic looks in terms of where they're bringing their attack from. And you can see the disruption it causes in the backfield. Herriman not even able to get into a rhythm to get a clean handoff.
We've seen some snapping issues as well today, and we've talked about before how important timing is. When you are trying to hold your blocks against talented defensive linemen, timing's got to be exact because it is everything. Look to the outside, gets it over, has a man open, it's caught, trying to break away and breaking a tackle to the outside. And a huge gain for the Mustangs.
Yeah, great job, Josiah Dunn. Snags the ball out of the air on the deep slant route. They're able to finally generate something. I was waiting for Josiah to come and kind of jumpstart this offense. It's a huge gain for Herriman now. They're across the 50-yard line into Skyridge territory here at the 41. And you can see the energy come back and the life come back to this Herriman football team.
You can see the Herriman parents on the other side. You talked about it. Get that little bit going. But what a great catch and run. Shaking off a tackler was Josiah Dunn. A much-needed play, and that now the best offensive play of the day for the Mustangs. And hard count, little bit of Skyridge's own medicine, gets them free 5 yards.
Yeah, trying to get just a little bit more momentum and get a little bit more confidence. Maybe allow your offense to settle down a little bit here. And not phasing the Skyridge defense as they're kind of clapping, like saying, "Ha, we see what you're trying to do here."
See if they can get another positive gain of yardage here. Pressure in his face, running away, nearly dragged down. Doing his best McKay Hillstead impression is Freddie Ta'ai.
Yeah, great job, and he is a talented runner. You know, that's one of the reasons why he's at the quarterback position. We saw Grundy do a great job of picking up the blitzing linebacker there, able to give him a little bit of a seam. And as it was 1st and 5 on the offsides penalty, now you're 2nd and short, and this gives you a lot more in terms of what you can do if you're Herriman. You completed a big pass already. Maybe take a shot here, see if you can catch that Skyridge defense sleeping.
2nd and 2 from the 33. Ta'ai with the deep set in the backfield. Pressure comes through right away. He is buried. Falcons get home for the sack. Elijah Terapaia buries Ta'ai in the backfield, and he is down at the moment and does not look to be good. So we are going to step away while they tend to Ta'ai. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind. Back here at Skyridge High School, we are going to see a quarterback change. Who's going to be, Brian? This looks like Braxton Hatch. So Braxton Hatch comes in. Freddie Ta'ai was able to get off on his own power after a long time, but able to get off nonetheless. A great sight to see. Hatch, it's intercepted. Picked by Smith Snowden. Snowden to the outside, showing off the speed. Great blocking, and he's going to be tackled out of bounds. Smith Snowden, one of the best corners in the state of Utah, picks off the backup quarterback on the first play, showing off the sensational hands, Brian.
Yeah, I don't know what the thought process was there for Herriman as you're maybe trying to get those nerves settled with an easy completion, something over the middle on the slant route. Ball is a little bit high. Snowden's playing the route perfectly, knows he has help underneath, able to take that one out of the air and just essentially looked like he just kind of ran out of like thought juice there at the end, not knowing what to do. But a great interception by Snowden, great return. And now Skyridge is once again threatening in Herriman territory here at the 25-yard line.
3:35 left. Hillstead takes over from the 25. Pressure in his face, and he's going to get dropped. How about the Mustangs bringing the pressure and getting a huge sack?
Yeah, and that's a great play by this Mustang defense, able to finally wrangle McKay Hillstead down. But you see it takes multiple defenders as it's Edward Venisi there, able to gather his troops, so to speak, and invade the territory of McKay Hillstead. Now Skyridge is in what we would normally say trouble territory, but we've seen this before from Skyridge where they've been second and really long and coming out of it looking really good.
I think this is another opportunity. Look, you're up by 30 right now. It's a great opportunity to get some practice in for when you are in these situations in close games. Try to set up the screen there. Wasn't nothing there, but Tate Walker eventually got it. Got a tough, 4 yards looks about?
Yeah, you can see a little bit of miscommunication up front there for Skyridge, as I think there were some, we'll say miscues.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll say happy accidents, as Bob Ross would say. Not allowing them to execute the screen passes cleanly, but able to get some yards. Now they're 3rd and long here from the 28-yard line.
It's going to be a timeout for the Falcons. We'll take one as well. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy.
Skyridge burned their first time out of the half, but set to pick it up with 2:19 to go. 3rd and 14 from the 28. McKay Hillstead in 3rd and disadvantages for the first time tonight. Hillstead has all day to throw. Gets it across the middle. That's caught. Josh Davis, the tight end, makes the reception, but going to be short of the first down. And looks like the offense is staying on the field, so we'll see what Coach Hem's going to draw up.
Yeah, this is not about anything other than being the best team that you can be for Skyridge, right? They don't need to worry about turning the ball over here. What they need to worry about is executing in these pressure situations, because you're going to see this at State.
Under 2 minutes, 1:50 remaining. 4th and 2 from the 18. Hillstead checks over. Offensive line has been effective running the ball. Hillstead's been effective. Everything has pretty much been working, but we'll see what they go to on 4th down. Hillstead to Kalama on the outside. Easy reception. He keeps the legs turning. Nearly broke out of those tackles, Brian.
Yeah, you see Hillstead go up to the line of the scrimmage and change things around a little bit, adjusting the protection. Knows that he has Kalama out there in the flat, delivers the ball. And Kalama is such a great route runner, but also a great yard after the catch runner. See him fighting for every single inch. I know Coach Ethan Wright has to love that effort.
Well, Kalama, not the biggest guy in the world, but has such strong legs. We've seen it multiple times now. Shake out of those tackles, has strong hands as well, and
almost like a running back in the slot there.
So true. They'll bring Jensen across. Hillstead, pressure to face. He throws an interception. Hillstead in the open field, able to hold him up enough. Are they going to be able to get the tackle? Possibly. There's a couple left for the Falcons, and they finally wrestle him down. McKay Hillstead with the rare mistake and a fantastic interception by Caden Hansen.
A great job by Caden Hansen there to kind of trick Hillstead, get him a little uncomfortable. We talk about McKay rarely makes mistakes. That one was a clear throw that he wishes he could get back. Hansen able to run almost the length of the field, kind of ran out of gas that one looked a little bit more like indecision there towards the end. Didn't know which way to take it, and Skyridge able to catch up to him. So Herriman not able to get the pick six, but they are in Skyridge territory now here at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, you can see Coach Hem's already pulling it up on the tablet. One of the great things about the high school level now is you have that technology available. They're going to go back, take a look at it, but they could just listen to what you just diagnosed it up as well, Brian. Perfectly said. And now a great opportunity for the Mustangs. Got that momentum. Braxton in the backfield, gets it over to Robinson, who can't hold on. Braxton Hatch took a hit as well.
Yeah, he's not afraid to stand in the pocket there and throw the ball. You can see that he's got a pretty lively arm. Not able to get it to his wide receiver there as 13, not able to reach out and grab that one out of the air. But nevertheless, I like what we're seeing so far from this backup quarterback for Herriman.
Braxton Hatch at quarterback. I assume no relation to our colleague Jake Hatch.
Jake could never make a throw like that. I love you, Jake. You're my brother in the girth.
You, me, and Jake would make for a fun offensive line. I'll say that, Brian.
I'll play tackle.
Exactly. Hatch got some time. Tries to get it to Robinson once again. And, really quick, it's just a credit to Smith Snowden that we have not been calling Michael Falatea's name tonight.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we talk about it. Having that kind of corner, that guy who can go out on an island and essentially take away half the field is so important. But you're seeing Herriman continually trying to go to the slant. They're trying to work the middle of the field, and Skyridge dropping defenders from both angles, really having that route blanketed. Curious to see what Herriman does right now as Skyridge has made the adjustments to counter that route.
It's hard to come into a game when you haven't been getting the practice reps during the week. It's even harder when you don't have the time in the pocket. Skyridge shows blitz. They'll bring 5. Hatch has to get rid of it. He does. Robinson makes the grab, but a fantastic tackle in the open field to prevent a first down.
Yeah, you're seeing this Herriman offensive line doing a better job of initiating protection, and also Carson Grundy, who we talked about, very tough, very aggressive there in the backfield, picking up the linebackers. They're doing a better job of seeing where the pressure is coming from, giving Braxton a little bit more time to get those completions. Now, 4th and 5 for Herriman. Again, have to expect that this is going to be a passing play. So far, everything we've seen has been to the right side of the field in that kind of shallow flat territory. It looks like Herriman's going to take a timeout and think this one over.
Saxton Higbee made the tackle, makes it 4 and 6. Offense is going to stay on the field. Coach Pierce's team decided to take a break and talk about it. We will as well. We come back with 34 seconds remaining in the first half. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes
Back inside, Skyridge high. 34 seconds remaining in your first half. 30-0, the Falcons lead. The pick by Hillstead, giving some life for the Mustangs. 4th and 6. Hatch, pressure in his face, tries to get it. Incomplete. Falcons defense holds strong once again.
And he takes a massive hit there from, it looked like Westover maybe, on the pressure, but young quarterback, backup quarterback, have to be encouraged by the fact that they were able to make some movement there. Unfortunately, after the big play interception, turnover on downs is not what you're looking for if you're Herriman.
These things have not been able to go the Mustangs' way tonight. Still doesn't take away the fantastic play we saw from Caden Hansen picking off Hillstead. At least have a small victory today. With 29 seconds left, Hillstead trots back out. 2 timeouts left. Another great opportunity to work some offense here. Hillstead all day, lost it to the sidelines. Was that caught? No.
Just ran out of real estate there on that far end of the field. That's a big-time throw, too, for Hillstead to try and throw all the way across the hash marks to the sideline like that. Really tough to be accurate. If you're Skyridge right now, I have to think with 23 seconds left, I know they want to try and get some 2-minute, pressure offense going, but have to kind of wonder if maybe at this point in time you don't just hand the ball off a couple times and you head into the locker room.
That was Jack Burke, who did make the catch, just foot barely out of bounds. See the fake to Walker. They'll go to the outside. Kalama nearly makes the reception, but that one, a nice pass break up by Chandler Smith.
Yeah, great job by Chandler Smith, and you're seeing, he's starting to get a feel for Kalama. We talked about it, JT. If you're Herriman, what do? You focus on the next play. You focus on getting better, and you're starting to see this Herriman defense adjust to what Skyridge was doing originally. Now Skyridge is in a lull. They've got to snap out of this.
We'll have 19 seconds to do it before the half. Hillstead, pocket as clean as can be. Nice pass fit in for the first down, and they'll take the timeout. Kyle Valdez with the reception.
Yeah, you're seeing that Herriman wants Skyridge to start looking downfield more. They're taking away those shallow routes that McKay's been working so much, and so forces the ball into Valdez, able to get close to a first down there at the 44-yard line. As we go into timeout here, we'll see what happens with Skyridge as they come out. Is they're kind of still in that weird
it's fourth down.
Where, they're close enough to, fourth down here too.
That was the thing. I thought it was a first based on where Valdez made the catch, but apparently not. You can see, there's only not 12 seconds left. Coach Pierce, Coach Sleeman, they're both out there jawing at the refs. Competitors through and through, right?
Yeah, you have two of the highest, most competitive coaches here in the state. In addition to that, they're going to fight and compete every play, and they want to make sure that they get what their expectations are met here. I'm curious, just JT, what it is that you're thinking you can get out of this if you're Skyridge.
Yeah.
Because at this point, you're at the 43-yard line, your own 43. If you have something that goes wrong and you give Herriman an opportunity to maybe get another turnover or even get a touchdown here, that's a big change in momentum for Herriman. I just don't know if it's worth being that aggressive right here.
Very true. They did give him the first down, so some back and forth, but they do have it. So 12 seconds left. Got to be thinking something. You have one timeout left. Trying to get in field goal range right now, got to believe. Right, Brian?
You never know. This is scary football team, this offense. They're bomber set right now, 5 wide.
Quick throw to the outside. Valdez, thought that hit the ground, so incomplete to Valdez. 8 seconds left.
Yeah, my mistake. They're 4 wide here, but I'm not sure I love that play call there where you're trying to hit a quick route out to the sideline. That doesn't even get you to the 50-yard line. We're not kicking 65-yard field goals here at this level. So if you're really, at this point, with 8 seconds left, trying to attack, you need to start throwing the ball down the field.
You're right. No, it's extremely weird, right? So we're doing short passes. If you're going for a touchdown or field goal, you're going deep. And if you're just trying to run out the clock, you run the ball. So it is very interesting, the attack right now. Either way, 1 to maybe 2 more plays with 8 seconds. They'll fake it to Walker, try to set the wide receiver screen up to the outside. Valdez chugs forward. He is tackled, and we do see a timeout called. Looks like they got it with 1 second left, Brian.
Yeah, again, an interesting play call is Skyridge is sticking to what they've been doing all game, trying to hit those short routes, right? Trying to work the wide receiver screen. It's almost as if they have a set here for the 2-minute offense that they're trying to work through in order to be prepared down the road, because the slate ahead of them gets much more difficult, and you do have a pretty sizable lead against a Herriman team that hasn't been able to manufacture much momentum so far.
One interesting thing about the Skyridge team, as we talked about, Coach Lehman, still the head coach, but Coach Hem on in waiting. So you see Coach Lehman, kind of like how Corner Canyon did it with Coach Care for so long, right? He's completely separate from the offense right now. Coach Hem in the huddle, making the calls, leading the guys. What are the biggest advantage of basically having 2 coaches for each side of the ball?
Well, I think the biggest advantage is that you have a head coach who can manage the game, right?
Yes.
And when to call the timeouts, if you're getting close on play clock, and this is a weird aspect, but working over the officiating crew, right? And so he's able to handle that aspect and let Coach Hem completely worry about what's going on with the offense.
We'll see, they've gone short passes a couple times. You see complete prevent defense from the Mustangs, understandably so. See if they opt for another short gain or if Hillstead looks deep. Instead, he'll go up high to Kalama, who nearly intercepted, who nearly caught it, and then tipped it to himself. But it falls incomplete. That'll bring us into the half. So 30-0 the score. Brian, your thoughts on the first half?
Well, it's exactly what we expected from the Skyridge football team, right? A team that had looked a little bit rusty in that first game, improved quite a bit against East, but comes out in this game and establishes dominance early with what they do best, playing defense, right? For Herriman, that's a tough half, but you go in, you lick your wounds, you come out, and you have to stay focused on that every play mentality and getting better. Right now, if you're Skyridge, though, you have to come out in this second half, and you have to have some aggression about you. Watching them walk off right now, they're kind of a little bit, you can tell that they're hungry for a little bit more of a challenge right now.
It almost was a perfect first half, and then you throw that interception, so now you're going with a bad taste in your mouth. You gave up a first down as well, something you hadn't given up a lot of during the game. But either way, 3 touchdowns for McKay Hillstead, a safety for Tassilia Kana, and a 1 for Tate Walker as well. Laha Kalama having himself a day. We are going into the half. 14:40 remaining until we resume action. Your score, the Skyridge Falcons lead the Herriman Mustangs 30-0 on KSL Sports Rewind.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes at UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate
Second half set to get underway at Skyridge High School, where the Falcons currently lead the Herriman Mustangs 30-0. Hello, everyone. JT Wistersdale and Brian Brown still with you on the call. And Brian, what are you looking for in the second half?
If you're Herriman, you just want to find some things to come away from this game with that you can look at positively. If you're Skyridge, focus. How good do you want to be? You're about to show the state how good you are with how you play in this second half.
Skyridge with a great opportunity here to get things done, as you talked about, Brian. 30-0 that lead. And what do you think McKay Hillstead's mindset's going to be after ending the half with that interception?
I think for McKay, he knows what he did and he knows what he's capable of. And so for him, it's about shaking that one off, coming back out here in the second half as you see Skyridge will receive the football and setting the tone going forward that was just one little tiny mistake and that it doesn't become a consistent issue moving down the road.
Set to get it underway. Got a new kicker as well for Herriman. So go a little pooch kick as it's fielded. Couple tough yards, some strong running for a solid return. Gets it to about the 44. What do you think the reason they went with the pooch on that one, Brian?
You got me on that one, JT. Trying to catch Skyridge off guard, maybe hoping you get a bounce there that goes in your direction a little bit. Instead, you give Skyridge the ball at the 40, looks like the 47-yard line here, their own 47, with a lot less field to try and get a touchdown.
I'm happy it gave my man Mason Anderson a chance to run that like a fullback. You saw he had two hands all over it. Got a nice gain as well. Kept the legs churning. Hillstead. They go run right away, and a huge hole for a big first down. Skyridge rolling. Looks like Tate Walker with the big game, Brian.
Establish the trenches, JT. That's what you want to do if you're Skyridge, right? You want to come out and establish dominance, so to speak. That's a great way to get things started when you get a 10-yard gain, just running the ball up the middle on zone.
They did it in the first half, and this Skyridge offensive line said, hey, we're showing up for the second based on that first play. Give it back to Walker again. Same result with a huge hole. Nice gain of about 5.
Yeah, a little bit of a different look there. We're seeing a little bit more of a heavy personnel look from Skyridge, running the split zone there. Again, trying to establish things on the ground early on and make sure that you set the tone.
This is a Skyridge team that can pretty much do anything. They can throw it on you, they can run it on you, and let's say you have everything covered in the passing game. Oh, crap, McKay Hillstead might even be their deadliest threat when he just decides to scramble.
Yeah, and this is like big football guy energy here right now where it's just like, let's start running the ball down their throats, and you're going to see it here with McKay as well.
Little shovel pass. Well played by the Mustangs. Not a lot there, Brian.
Yeah, they've had that one sniffed out, tried to run a little variant of it earlier. That's one of those things that Skyridge really loves is that shovel pass option. Put defenders into territory where they have to make a tough decision. Right here now for Herriman, they're doing a great job of that.
Defensive lineman Braden Young played that perfectly. 10:26 remaining on the 37. They'll give it to Walker again. And tell me if you heard this before. First down, Skyridge.
Yeah, Sky Walker there, right there. Moving those chains like it's a Starfleet defense. This is the kind of drive that we talked about. If you're Skyridge, you really have to come out and establish where you're just churning those yards and moving those chains, starting to really wear down this Herriman defense again, letting them know that nothing has changed from the first half.
Really hasn't. The only difference between this and Skyridge's first drive of the game hasn't been a true pass thrown. I guess you had the shovel pass, but outside of that, no true air yardage on the outside.
Yeah, no need for it right now. Again, this is about becoming a better team if you're Skyridge, setting the tone, getting your mental focus where it needs to be.
Hillstead is going to air it out. Kalama unable to handle the low throw.
And you're kind of seeing that, I don't want to say lack of focus, but that waning focus from Skyridge right there. That's a ball that I think Kalama's able to scoop up earlier in the game. Seeing the effort not quite where it needs to be. And you want to see a spark now from this Skyridge offense. And if I'm looking for a spark, I usually look right at McKay Hillstead.
100%. This is a situation as well where, let's say in the future you're going on in the gauntlet that is Region 4, you get a 30-point lead at the half, so you get complacent. You've done this all season. No one's come back. And then, boom, get into it. High snap. Hillstead scrambles. He's just going to throw it away.
Yeah, smart decision by McKay there. It's second down. You've got some time to work with, and now we see a late flag. Looks like there
intentional
on the
grounding.
It looked like he was outside of the pocket, so don't know that that's going to be the case. It looked like there might have been some extracurriculars there on the sideline. We'll see as our white hat wanders over here to the middle of the field leisurely.
Leisurely is a perfect word to describe that. That's a sideline warning.
Yeah,
Wow.
sideline infraction against Herriman. Exciting one. The first one is a warning.
Yeah, Coach Pierce has just got to be thinking, can we get a break here? I need a sideline warning.
Usually what that is that a coach is not able to get out of the way of the official when they're trying to scoot down the sideline.
Strength coach not doing his job.
Get back, son.
9:37 remaining, 3rd and 10 from the 32.
Guess we don't have enough cameras down there for the get back coaches.
Yeah. Hillstead fakes it, has all day in the pocket, gets out of a tackle, open field. Not open for long. He is collapsed and tackled.
Yeah, great job by Herriman. Able to get enough coverage to force McKay to get outside of the pocket. He tries to keep his eyes downfield, but there are enough defenders closing fast on him. At this point, if you're Herriman, what are you trying to protect back there, right? Close quickly on McKay. Limit him from getting those big gains off the scrambles.
Nice thing about our game tonight that we haven't, at least I haven't had all year, Brian, is we got a play clock over here, so take a second. Looks like there's actually an injury along the offensive line, so while they tend to the Skyridge linemen, we're going to step away. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit.
Back here at Skyridge High School, where we're set to resume play after a momentarily pause. And now walking off on his own power is the center, Adam Stevens. So always a tough position to lose your center.
Yeah, and Stevens has been fairly reliable. You're able to see him walk off under his own power. Hope that he'll be able to maybe stretch it out a little bit and get back out there. But a not advantageous time for him to come out of the game as Skyridge is now 4th and long at the Herriman 34-yard line.
Makes sense to leave the offense out there. Garrett King in at center. Hillstead all day to throw. Pocket eventually breaks down. He's going to take off. There's a lot of Mustangs in front of him, and for the first time tonight, he's not going to get it.
You're seeing that Herriman's have made that adjustment on defense, right? They're just going to let those receivers get downfield, and they're going to close on McKay. He's going to have to get better at keeping his eyes downfield and trying to find things over the top because they are not going to let him try and pick up those first downs with his legs anymore.
Had the turnover in the first half off the interception, but outside of that was the first true stop for this Mustangs defense. And is that one where do you want to see Hillstead tucking it right there, or do you want to see him kind of hang back by time and wait for his guys to pop open?
He's so good with his legs and getting outside of the pocket that you want to see him make those tough decisions, right? Repetitive accuracy, as you and I have both heard from Andy Ludwig in the past, is such a key component about quarterback play. You want to see him develop that as he makes those same throws every time.
Cash going to take it himself. Ball is out. Who's going to get on top of it? Brian, I don't know about you, but I have no idea. Looks like at the moment the signal is for the Mustangs.
Yeah, just based on the reactions, it looks like this one will stay with Herriman. But a great job by the Skyridge defense. Get a helmet on the football. His hat just trying to spin out of a tackle. Ball pops backwards. Ends up getting a loss on the plays pretty substantially after getting maybe a yard or two positive gain. Turns into now 2nd and long for Herriman from their own, looks like 25-yard line to me.
Herriman was due for a break because we've talked about it all night. It's been like, hey, here's a positive play. Then they take a step back after that, and that was almost a massive step back. Thankfully, they got on top of it. Couldn't see the number of the Skyridge guy, but it was right under someone. Just couldn't get on it.
Yeah, Skyridge is a very opportunistic defense. Herriman lucky they didn't get the scoop and score there.
Cash gives it to Grundy. He's swallowed up. This Skyridge front seven not playing around. That one was a kana.
Yeah, and swallowed is the term for that. Absolutely. Grundy, a hard-running back there. He's able to usually generate some yardage from that situation, and Skyridge just like a black hole sucking him into their abyss.
7:31, 3rd and 15 from the 27, unfortunately facing the Mustangs. We haven't seen a lot of two guys in the backfield tonight. Do you think that's to add a little more protection and time for Hatch?
Well, you're trying to get some misdirection going as well.
See if that misdirection takes effect. It'll go outside of the Grundy. That is an interception! What a play by Smith Snowden! Snatched it out of the air into the end zone for 6 points!
The veteran play by Snowden to know that that's going to be a tough throw for the quarterback. He bides his time, reading it the entire time, watching the eyes, makes his break, uses the athleticism to set in front, and it is nothing but pay dirt for Smith Snowden as he heads north to the end zone.
Snowden with an incredible play, and that's a tough one because looked like you're trying not to show it's a screen, but Snowden is only reading Grundy, so that's all he sees. You get Hatch trying to buy time and look elsewhere to look off the safeties, but by the time he comes back to Grundy and throws the throw, wasn't a bullet either, unfortunately, and that Snowden flew like a bullet out there for the interception.
Yeah, just a veteran play by Snowden, and something you would expect with a kid, from a kid who has a football background like he does. And you have to love that direction for him, JT. It just feels like north is the right move.
37-0. Smith Snowden and the Falcons in front. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy.
Sweet Caroline is blasting as the Falcons are absolutely having a good time, as are we, JT Wistersill and Brian Brown, up here with you from the booth, and what has been a fun display if you're a Skyridge fan.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where you just sit back and just enjoy the show that Smith Snowden just put on, and this Skyridge defense makes a big play that sets the tone that the offense really couldn't when they first came out.
Valatea once again going to try to get to the sideline. He's got green grass in front of him. It's going to be him versus the kicker. Can he track him down? He will. Kicker saving a touchdown.
Well, it's the old wall-style kick return there, and you see Valatea as he gets to the outside, able to set the field position in very advantageous territory there for Herriman, but he's covering a lot of ground to get up there. Kicker able to angle him close enough to the sideline that some of the Skyridge cover team able to catch up and force him out of bounds before the real damage hit.
Yeah. Herfel Isaac, kicker who got over to the sideline. Are you a little surprised that Valatea didn't try to run him over?
Normally you would think that, but he spent so much time trying to get across the field initially. He's already 50 yards as Skyridge is trying to hit that angled the kickoff and doing a good job of it to make sure that Valatea really works to get to the return.
Second time now this game we've seen Valatea take it to the opposite sideline, something this Skyridge team, especially in the special teams film, is going to be mindful of. Hatch, pocket breaks down, Westover all over him.
Yeah, wash, rinse, and repeat for this Skyridge defense, and I think at this point in time you have to wonder when you start mixing the twos in a little bit here for Skyridge. This game is still competitive. It's 37-0. You're seeing some good things from Herriman, but really if you're Skyridge, your defense has been phenomenal all night long. I have nothing that I can point at and say to myself, well, this is a huge concern. And so you get this stop, get out of bounds, start letting some of those twos and threes get into play.
Ryan, this is something I talked about in my opening as well. You may look at it and be like, well, they gave up a touchdown to Fremont, so they're not as good as last year. David Calvert, incredible play. This defense is every good as, if not better, last year. And Carson Grundy finds that out right there as he is swallowed for a 5-yard loss.
And that's it right there. I think flashback to the first half where we saw Herriman start to get some momentum, and they drew the Skyridge defenders offside using their own kind of motion trickery and everything like that. And you could see the confidence on the Skyridge defenders countenances as they kind of clapped and played into it and stuffed them and shut them out right then and there. I think this defense is 1 year better. It's 1 year stronger. It's 1 year more impressive. If you're going to try and compare scores and tell me that that's the difference between this defense, I'm going to tell you to go buy some land, some oceanfront property in Nevada.
I take some oceanfront property in Nevada.
I got plenty to sell you. Just give me a call at 801.
Timeout on the field. We'll be back, and Brian can tell us all more about that Nevada oceanfront property. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy.
Third and 10 from the 45. 4:45 remaining. Mustangs got to have something. Pressure. Pocket was actually decent. The throw to the outside and just didn't see it all the way through. Was Robinson.
Yeah, Hatch gets the ball out there. Robinson trying to make the turn before, or it looks like Caden Hansen, trying to make the turn before he's able to reel that one in. Just another missed opportunity for Herriman where you just needed to get something going in your favor.
Instead, it's another quick series, 4 and 10 from the 45. See Kalama and Walker back there. Hard to find a group of returners as good as that, by the way. Walker and Kalama.
There's a lot of thick back there in that return team.
Got the strength and the speed. Kalama bobbled it for a second. If that would have been grabbed by the Mustangs, that would have been fair game.
A little nerve-wracking there because this is one of those situations where, again, like if you're Skyridge, you have to stay focused and you have to stay invested. So you don't want to get lackadaisical on those kinds of plays and allow Herriman to get some momentum, right? Got to execute in those situations. Got to make sure you're going through there. Because as you said, that's a live ball. And so is Skyridge going to get the ball going? Are they going to try and jumpstart some things? Maybe see McKay Hillstead throw the ball a little more this go-round? We'll wait and see.
37-0 our score. First and 10 from the 20, 4:15 remaining. Hillstead going to give it to Walker. Huge hole. He breaks through it. Up the gut. Another strong first down run.
And again, stay in the pocket. Go through your progressions. Look for the open man. This Herriman defense can't keep up with everyone. So trust your arm, trust the routes, and keep everything going downfield.
Second and 4 from the 32. Hillstead going to keep it to the outside. Gets it to Kalama on the sideline. Nice play on the move, but flag flies in.
Yeah, it looks like this one might be a little either from the placement, maybe a holding penalty or a high-low. Hard to say there, but Skyridge with the RPO action there, trying to get the defense flowing to the running back on the fake, and Hillstead able to throw it to the receiver outside, get some yardage. We'll see what the call is here, though.
What did you say earlier, Brian? Lazily or leisurely? Leisurely. We'll say leisurely. Making his way over.
Lackadaisical is the punt return. You can't ever call a ref.
Well, I just called him lazy, so now I feel bad too.
Listen, if it were me out there, I'd be taking my time too. Pay me by the hour.
Yeah. Second and 8 after the penalty from the 22. It was a nice play as well for them to play a go. Walker gets it just to the right. Another strong run, gets the yardage back just short of the first down if he doesn't have it.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of having a back like Walker. Once he gets going downhill, it is extremely hard to bring him down in this Skyridge offensive line. Again, opening up those creases. Great vision by Walker to hit the crease, break that first tackle, and get it to third and very short here.
Yeah, it's I guess a yard. Looks like 3rd and inches from here. Hillstead once again going to give it to Walker. Wide open lane. He'll take it up the middle. What else can we say about this offensive line, Brian?
Easy pickup there on 1st down. You know, I was sitting here thinking, in any other situation, maybe you're thinking about the QB sneak, but the way this Skyridge offensive line has moved Herriman off the ball, easy call for the inside handoff, and Walker converts.
1st and 10 from the 41 with 2:40 to go. Hillstead will drop back, waiting, has all day, and then will slide.
Yeah, Hillstead again doing a good job of staying in the pocket, trying to see what's open and available downfield, not trying to force anything right now, right? Takes a safe play, takes the slide, protect yourself, make sure that you can play another down.
Skyridge on the ball right away. 3 down linemen for the Mustangs. Gives Hillstead time. Nearly a one-handed catch by Kalama. Unable to haul it in.
And we've seen that a little bit from Hillstead tonight, that he's a little bit high on his targeting. Try and get settled down, be a little bit more firm in the pocket, really stand and step through on those throws. Again, these are the kinds of things that you need to work on right now in the game as you're going into region play if you're Skyridge.
You might be watching this going, what does Herriman have to fight for? And we've already talked about it a few times. It's going to be 3rd and 8 here. Just the competitiveness. You're playing an opportunity to get some stops and some plays on Skyridge. This is a Herriman team a year ago that played Skyridge. They hosted them at home, and Skyridge won that game 23-0. Herriman shut them out in the second half.
Yeah, if you're Herriman, the shutout in the second half's already off the board, right? Smith-Snowden took care of that.
Yep.
What you can do is keep trying to make plays like that. You know,
nearly an
keep
interception.
trying to get your stops. Great job there by number 41. My sheet's failing.
Brian, I'm getting you a flip card next week. That one was nearly intercepted, but instead batted down by Ty Cameron.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that you need to keep focusing on if you're Herriman, is getting to your spots, staying in the possession and executing, because this is still a young Herriman team, right? This is a Herriman team that still has a lot to play for as it moves forward. They've got a tough region, and they want to continue to get better so that they can continue to fight once they get into region play.
It's actually Ty Carmen. I was so busy taking a shot at you, I didn't even read the name right.
Fat fingers, JT.
The age-old problem all linemen experience. Robinson gets a nice return to the outside, getting to about the 18. 1:11 remaining. So we're going to see this Mustangs offense trot back out here. So couldn't get the momentum going with Hatch the first couple drives we've seen so far. Is there anything you haven't seen yet that you would try to do different here? I mean, that Skyridge defensive line is just so disciplined.
No, exactly right. And I think really what you've seen is that Herriman's kind of tried to open up a playbook a little bit more. Keep doing that. Give Hatch these reps, right? Find some things that he's liked. Find some things that he's been comfortable with. You know, we saw him go with the slants earlier, and so maybe you're going to look for a little bit of a deep slant here, see if you can get him a couple completions. But keep going with the offense. Again, this one's likely out of reach, but you can keep chopping that wood.
1st and 10. Give it to Grundy. He is met in the backfield. Skyridge once again reestablishing the line of scrimmage. Akana and a slew of other defenders getting in there.
But you can just see the strength of that Skyridge defensive line as Grundy's trying to fight through it. Legs are still churning, and he's not going anywhere. But I like the call. I like the action. You're seeing how fast this defense is flowing still. And maybe as you continue to go through your call sheet, you see some things that they're opening up to because of that aggression.
Play clock is at 22. The game clock at 15. Mustangs don't need to run a play. See Coach Pierce making calls out. They will run a play. So Hatch going to air it out to the outside. And a nice gain. So making the catch along the sideline is Josiah Dunn. Excuse me.
Second catch for Dunn, and we saw earlier he took a shallow catch and made something big out of it. And you like the effort and the aggression from Herriman there to maybe catch Skyridge off on their heels a little bit right as the quarter's about to end. We'll see what happens as they're now 3rd and short coming into the 4th.
3rd and short. We move into the 4th. Your score, 37-0. Falcons over the Mustangs on KSL Sports Rewind.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit. At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to
Falcons facing 3rd and 14. Call Trent under center. Tate Walker flanking him in the backfield. We'll see what the Falcons decide to go for here, Brian.
Yeah, we'll see if Call and Walker really are TNT back there for Skyridge. Like dynamite, JT.
I love it. Trent all day to throw. Sees green grass in front of him. Gonna look to the end zone. That was hauled in! What a reception for the Falcons! Huge touchdown.
You love the effort by Call to get outside the pocket, scramble around, get that defense moving, has the confidence to set his feet, throw into traffic, and an absolutely great reception there by the Skyridge receiver. Hauls it in for 6, and that's a big capital exclamation point, whatever you want to put at the end of this drive.
These orange numbers can be difficult to read from a distance, so trying to make out our guy's number who made the catch. Either way, that was a low kick, so no PAT. We'll head to the break, but the Falcons able to find the end zone, 43-7. Your score at Skyridge.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Stonehaven Dental.
$43-0 the score. A huge throw by Call. How about the delivery?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, JT, just able to get outside of the pocket, has plenty of time to establish, get on platform, and deliver that throw. You see, I love that attacking mentality to try and thread the needle in the defense. Nothing to lose when you're 4th and whatever to goal, on a goal to go, I should say.
That's a deep kick, not going to be returnable by the Falcons. So 5:40 to go. 43-0 our score. We'll see if the Mustangs can get a little bit of offensive momentum versus the Falcons. And you're not going to see guys like Cecilia Kanda, Smith Snowden. Their night is done officially. But, stars were on display tonight between those two. How about the plays with the safety and then the pick 6?
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to see from your stars is making those kinds of plays, that big-time effort. And on the opposite side of the ball, we're watching that Skyridge offensive line be dominant in the trenches, move the ball consistently. This is just a top-to-bottom great win, great effort from Skyridge.
Hatch going to give it to the charging forward Grundy. Actually, might not be Grundy. Similar build in the backfield, but instead of Grunding, that's actually going to be Remington Wood. Or check that, Remington or Mitchell Keesaw.
Yeah, and good positive yards there for Herriman finally on first down on the handoff. Able to get about 3 early in the series. And hopefully you'll see something from Hatch here where maybe he can get a completion or something like that and generate a drive here for Herriman.
Going to run once again, but all over in the backfield. As Skyridge devours him.
As soon as I open up my mouth, there's the curse coming out to jinx this Herriman offense. As you see, even with the 2s out there, Skyridge is fast-flowing and aggressive to the football.
Falcons defense saying, we're still here. We're still here.
I wish they were saying, bring Brian food. Bring Brian food.
Brian, you got 4 minutes to go.
I'm
4 minutes.
I'm hungry. We hungry, JT. We hungry.
Oh, This Falcons defensive line and the offensive line as well, they have dominated the trenches tonight. It's 3rd and 12. See the motion to the outside. They'll get it over down the sideline, tiptoeing. Did he make it? He did. What a phenomenal effort.
Yeah,
that was Grundy.
Great job by Grundy to get upfield and get out of bounds just past the sticks. Nice little swing pass there, something that earlier in the game we weren't able to see Herriman complete. And so you take that progress and try and transition this into more gains, more positivity.
Grundy showing off the wheels because he and this Mustangs offense, they had the need for speed.
JT, I don't got friends, I just got family. And right now I'm very happy about what my family's doing for Herriman.
They'll give it to Grundy again. He's met by a couple of Falcons, and I'm sure you are happy about what they're doing, almost as happy as you're going to be when you taste your post-game meal, Brian, as we sit here with 3 minutes away from post-game meal.
Visions of the hot dogs dancing in my head, but not enough to distract me from what Herriman's trying to do. Get a little misdirection up front on the trap play. You know, it's funny, this Herriman offense, I still see imprints of the very first head coach, Larry Wilson, who coached me in high school.
There you go.
Love that trap play. Skyridge's defense staying sound, able to disrupt it.
Even the twos for the Falcons would start at most places. Going to see the handoff, trying to get to the outside. A nice hard run by number 41. That'll be Ty Carmen. Saw him on defense earlier, bat down that pass. Couldn't get the interception, but there, it's a nice run.
Yeah, and you're seeing Herriman trying to get to the sideline, right? Getting this Skyridge defense sideline to sideline, slow down that aggression. Again, it's all about establishing things going forward, right? We don't know the extent of the injury to Herriman's quarterback, and so you may be rolling with Hatch for a few more games. Hard to say right now. Try and get him some rhythm right now while you can.
Yeah, Freddie Ta'ai hurt earlier in the game. That one hauled in, an impressive catch. He turned around, and that ball was basically on top of him, but still able to haul it in.
That's exactly how you want it there. If you're Herriman, Hatch standing strong in the pocket, delivering a strike. He's got plenty of juice behind the throw, and you're able to get another first down.
Yeah, Josiah Dunn, how phenomenal has he been tonight? Makes an impressive grab there, and we came in talking about Michael Falatea. It's been all done.
Yeah, Dunn is a guy that I was looking for early on to try and make some plays. Was able to get a few grabs there in the second quarter. Now we're seeing him get a little bit more progress.
1st and 10 from the 41, met right away. Falcons laying the wood, and we'll give some credit for that tackle in a moment. But first, want to give some credit to how about the fans and just the atmosphere here at Skyridge tonight. These bleachers are packed, and that student section, I mean, there are hundreds of kids in there, Brian.
Yeah, nobody has left so far with just a minute and a half left in this game. It was a great crowd. I would say it was a full house for sure.
Full house.
A fun stadium here at Skyridge where you have the embankments up where people can go and sit. And we could definitely feel it up here in the booth, JT.
100%. We've been shaking a couple times up top. Just over a minute remaining in our game now. As we'll see if there is any more momentum to be gained for the Mustangs on this drive going into next week. Look to the outside wide receiver screen for Falatea. Falcons on top of it.
Just really, really tough to get anything when you're not able to establish blocks long enough against this Skyridge defense. They are slippery, like greased pigs out there. A Bryson Barnes original.
Hey, speaking of college football, week 0 is here. We've had high school football back for the past 2 weeks. You got week 3 underway tonight. Tons of great action across the state, all across KSL Sports Rewind. Make sure you guys check out the Red Zone channel where Dusty Lister's bringing it to you, as well as make sure you enjoy football this weekend. Phenomenal coverage on the outside is going to lead to an incompletion.
Yeah, Hatch trying to go deep to the receiver, just trying to capitalize on any kind of momentum they can as the clock winds down with 19 seconds left. Great coverage there with Skyridge, right on the hip, right where you want to be, not allowing the wide receiver to come across and trying to make a play on the ball.
That was Stefan Terapaya. So 8 seconds left. I was looking at my notes, Brian. Excuse me. So did we see a timeout there? Or?
Yeah.
Or was it a chain
that's
turnaround?
Going to be the end of the game.
Oh, it will be the end. I thought, oh, you're right. Incomplete pass, but running clock still going to lead to the end of the game. So your final will be Skyridge 43, Herriman 0. Brian, your thoughts?
Just a dominant performance by Skyridge. And after seeing them in week 1, you love watching them come out and play their style of football. limiting mistakes, improving the execution, everything like that. For Herriman, I love watching this team stay in the fight. These games are tough for teams like Herriman, where you just come into it and it's a mismatch, right? Skyridge is just built to be a top of the state team, but you want to see those guys stay in the fight, especially after 2 tough games against Corner Canyon and Timview already. Love what I saw from them. Love the fight from guys like Carson Grundy, and this is going to be a team that as they go into region, they'll have a lot of growth to build on.
Cecilia, Smith, Snowden, McKay, Hillstead, all ball out. Herriman's defense stronger in the second half, but Trent Call came in and delivered a beautiful ball as well. So 43-0 is going to be our final. Herriman will return home, but their battle with Region 4 teams not over. They're taking on Westlake. Skyridge coming up will take on Orem, heading down there, and what should be a fun matchup. Just a week out, Brian. What's your thoughts on that matchup? Skyridge taking on Orem.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one that ends up going in Skyridge's favor, but as they get into the more Utah County schools, it should be an exciting, I wouldn't quite call it a rivalry necessarily, but one of those things where it's a close institution, and that both teams are going to come into that one looking to play hard.
That's going to do it from Skyridge High School. For our cameraman, Doug, for my color commentator, Brian Brown, I am JT Wistersill. Thank you for joining us on KSL Sports Rewind. Your final, Skyridge 43, Herriman 0. Have a great night, and enjoy the return of college football.